I was not expecting the new drops to be starting until like next week after the New Year's, but some brands are getting ahead of it and we have some new exciting launches to cover today. And I was excited because I just posted my shopper drop about the newest launches I was excited about, and I saw that you guys were also equally as excited / curious about them. And I told you I already had a few in my hands to try out. So that's what we're testing today. I have the heavy headers that I think you guys are the most excited about. So I have a little lab sample of the newly reformulated Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, which I will compare to the OG today. The Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt Cool Palette has entered my palette, so we'll get this on the eyes today. And a couple of new lip products, including the new Patrick Ta Major Moisture Smoothing Lip Balms. And a launch I told you I wasn't too excited about. I'm a little weirded out by, but we'll see. From Makeup by Mario, we have the Jelly Jar Lip and Cheek Balms. For science, right? So we have some good ones to cover today. I'm excited. I haven't played with new launches in a while. Normally around November, December, the new launches stop and brands are pushing their holiday launches, their holiday sets, which come out in September / October. So this is the normal time frame of things, but it was a little earlier than I expected for spring to be launching. But I wanted to start testing them right away because I'm expecting a lot more products to be launching soon, so we want to dive in as early as we can. Now, to prep the skin today, I just sprayed on some of the Laneige Cream Skin Toner and Moisturizer and let that penetrate into my skin because I've already done my skincare for the day a few hours ago. So we wanted to bring a little bit of moisture back, and you guys, I don't know, the air must be extra dry. The outside of my lips are getting red. They're tight. They're painful. From the overdosing of lip balms, I've given myself a zit. But while we're doing the foundation, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with one of the products, the new Patrick Ta Major Moisture Smoothing Lip Balms. I'm going to talk about them when we get more to the lip portion. But right away, we're going to put cocoa butter on because it is clear and my lips need something immediately. So if you're looking for the clear one, cocoa butter. It does have a nice soft, sweet scent to it, which I love a scent, especially in a lip product. Like, make me want to eat you. I'll get more into the other colors and swatches and all of that in the lips portion, but we're prepping with this, and I will say I've used these before. This is not a first impression. These are pretty hydrating, which is why I want to put this on my lips right now, because it is going to help fix what I have going on right now and the painfulness that I'm feeling. So that's my little sneak peek for you. These are nice and hydrating, which is what I need. All right, let's get into it. This newly reformulated Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Now, if you are kind of new to the makeup market, honestly, Luminous Silk from Armani is iconic. It's been around for years and years and years. I wore this all throughout college. It was one of my favorite, if not my favorite foundation in college, and I still love it to this day. I love it because it's long wearing, but it looks really nice and lightweight on my dry skin, has a nice medium coverage. It is the perfect everyday foundation, but also carries well into event makeup. It's been used in so many makeup artist kits. It is iconic for a reason, which is why when the reformulation was announced, I got very, very scared, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe there's been some new rules and regulations for ingredients in the EU, and one of those ingredients that just got banned was in this original formula. So they had no choice but to change the formula, and instead of just changing it and acting like nothing happened, they completely re-promoted it and remarketed it. So they claim it is now better than ever. It has the same silky texture, 24-hour wear, and natural glow finish, but it now has 44 shades, 26 are original with 18 new, and it has more skin intensities and undertones, including olive. which is great news. And it also now has niacinamide. I think it's important if you are a regular user of the Luminous Silk, definitely check out this diagram right here because some shades have changed. So you might have a new match. The new foundation is $69. And actually a month or two ago, I did get a little lab sample sent from Armani. I didn't try it. I didn't know what it was. And I just emailed them to double check, and they did confirm this was the reformulation. So I do have it to try today, which I'm excited about. I have it in 4.5, which is the shade that I normally use. However, these shades are going to be too dark on me. This was my Miami color, but we're going to make it work. We have the mock neck for a reason to block it. Hopefully I like it, and I can get something a little bigger than the lab sample. But they sent this without any context. They were like, just try it and let us know what you think. And so I emailed them today. I said, confirming this is the Luminous Silk before I say it is in a video. And they were like, yes, it is. So I'm excited to have that to try today. My lips, they feel so much better. Okay, I'm just gonna put you in close. We're gonna get on with it. Let's start off with what is familiar to me. I'll actually do it on this side where the zit is not. This is the old formulation. This is how I apply all of my foundations. I like to use my finger to spread it out, warm it into the skin. Do you see how this just melts so beautifully? I mean, it ought to with what you're paying for it. It's a luxury foundation, but I've always felt like this was a standard of how a luxury foundation should perform. It makes the skin look soft and blurred without being drying. I'm using the BK Beauty 109 brush, and I'm just going to push this in. My finger did do 90% of the work, and then we're just going to seal it in with this brush. This was about 75% of a full pump, I would say. Perfect. I mean, I've put this foundation in favorites videos, recommendations for years and years and years and years. So this is not anything new. We're just making sure that this new reformulation didn't get it all screwed up, you know? As long as it's mostly the same type of performance, you won't catch me complaining. So we have a pretty light layer over this side of my face with the old foundation. Now let's get into the new one. So I'm just going to blend this into the skin. Dare I say this feels a little wetter, a little bit more, no, it definitely feels more wet. Interesting. Which could be more hydrating, but I feel like the older formulation kind of blurred into the skin a little bit quicker with my finger. Versus this one, I have to massage it in a little more. Nothing bad, but I am being hyper picky. So I'm still using the 109 brush from BK Beauty. This is a second one though. So there's no overlapping of product or mixing of the product. I feel like I'm gonna have to continue testing this more. This is not the only side-by-side comparison I'm gonna do, but I do feel like there was something more easy and effortless about the way the original blended in. It almost blurred right in, but could be maybe I just had a little bit more product here. Side by side though, I do think they look about the same. I really cannot tell a difference between the two sides. So that's good. It still has that soft focus finish. I wouldn't call it a glow. It's not matte, but it's definitely not glowy. It's more soft, matte, natural, and your natural oils tend to come through with this foundation, so there should be a little bit more of a glow at the end of the day. I'm going to do a second layer, small second layer, on the apples of my cheeks. So old formula. Yeah, this definitely blurs into the skin easier. I normally like to apply a second layer over the cheeks because that's where I have redness coming through. The consistency is ever so slightly more wet. Almost like closer to a moisturizer consistency when you blend it in. And I think it takes like just an extra like quarter second of work to blend it out for some reason compared to the old formula. That must be what that ingredient did. But looks wise, they look identical on the skin to me once everything's patted in. I'm not having best skin behavior right now. Super dry out there on the outside world, and my skin is suffering from it, but that's just the reality. Yeah, I mean, to the naked eye, these look the same, which is good. That's what I want. This doesn't need to be the exact same, but I want it to perform on the same level, and I think they look really, really nice. I will keep you updated on the wear. I'm just going to quickly throw on the Luminous Silk Concealer, which I don't think was reformulated. I just checked. And then a touch of Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Setting Powder, a powder I'm very familiar with. And we'll see how this fares today. Okay, I'm all prepped for the new Mini Eye Sculpt palette from Natasha Denona. I talked about this in my shopper drop that I'm not excited about this, and it's a lot after following the launch of those two giant Sculpt palettes already, which I do feel were kind of warm. So I think there is a place for this, and you guys let me know that you were excited about this, those of you who like the more gray toned neutrals. But this is $27. I love these little guys. And this is a play off of the one that launched last year, which is the OG. This one is more neutral. So let me show you how they compare to one another side by side. So the top is the new Sculpt Cool Tone palette, and the bottom is the original one. And you know what? I can see that the cool one is making the original one look a little bit more warm, especially with the 3 brown shades here. So the OG one is on this side. There's definitely more yellow in the lightest shade, for sure. This is almost more pink. This definitely is more chocolatey versus these are much more gray and beigey. And this has more gray in it as well. I think this is more of a true deep dark black. And before I do the side-by-side swatches, this is the Cool Tone palette swatched. Felt pretty on par with the original. This palette is made in Italy. And then for swatches, here's where you can really tell the difference as well. Cool, original. So they are different from one another, and those undertones are going to play a huge difference on the eyelid, especially depending on your undertone. So if you do like these gray tones, it's going to look so good on you. I tend to lean for neutrals that are more like this, where they're not necessarily warm, but these are very clearly more gray. So I just did the most simple look that I could do that involved all 5 shades, so I could demo them for you. So my concern was with these 2 shades, they look pretty similar with only slightly different undertones. So I'm going to show you them side by side. I do have the Thrive Cosmetics Eye Lift eyeshadow primer on underneath. Yeah, this palette, I mean, I know I've been saying this, it's very, very gray. I felt like when I saw the looks online that the looks looked pretty gray, and I was like, oh, maybe she used some of the more gray tones. But starting off from right here, it does set the tone for being pretty gray, which I'm less likely to reach for. I don't dislike gray eyeshadow. There's a time and a place for it, but I do typically prefer a little bit more true brown. So just be warned that this is a very gray palette, but you might like that. And then I just wiped my brush off, and I'm going to go into the shade right next to it so you can see the difference. It's slightly deeper, maybe a hint more taupey, but that way you can see the difference. I wish there was just a little bit more difference between the 2 shades. It's there, it exists, but for example, in the original one, the 2 shades here I feel like are more different than these 2 shades. These 2 shades are a hair too close to one another, in my opinion, but you can see it's working out really easily. Typically, shades that are cooler in nature are harder to formulate and harder to blend out. So I'm just taking this 3rd shade, also running this along the lower lash line. Then with a Rephr 14 brush, we're going into this charcoal gray shade. This, she says, is a medium dark cool. Well, that's the name of it. And that is going my outer corner, and I'm blending that and deepening the crease. Natasha's mattes, though, I do feel tend to lean a little bit more on the warmer side. So for those of you who want Natasha's formula in a more truly gray tone, I know you guys are going to be so excited for this. That's fine. Just a little bit of a deeper gray. And then I noticed with this white, it kind of blends into those tones and becomes kind of like multi-shades of gray as it layers over the other shades, which is nice. But this is a nice white shade. It really does brighten the look as well. It packs on pigment very nicely. Just gonna pop this in the inner corner, blend out as necessary. Very, very cool. And then I'm taking an angled brush, pressing this along my lash line, taking a smudge brush and just softening that for something more smoky. Oh, and I forgot, I did take the darker gray shade. Boom. That's the look I'm going with today. Let me pop on some lashes. I popped on some Kiss Pompadour lashes, and here is the eye look that I got with the palette. I mean, it's very, very nice. It's the same quality as the original. It's the same quality if you're familiar with Natasha Denona mattes, which are very, very easy to use. And you know if this is going to be a palette for you and a color story for you. I think for me, now that I have it in person, I'm taking a step back from favoring it because it's a bit too gray for me. Even though I've said that a billion times, but I know a lot of you are actually excited for that. So we do have that. We'll see how much I end up using this, but I'm gonna have to do some more grayscale kind of looks. Every time I put on gray, I'm like, ooh, I want to do more. So I definitely plan on playing with this more. Let's move on to these. I don't know if I'm looking forward to testing these or not. The Makeup by Mario Jelly Jar Lip and Cheek Multi-Use Balm. In my shopper drop, I said these look like a limited edition product. There's no way these are going to stay on the shelves for the brand. And I just saw online they actually are labeled as limited edition. So, okay, they're $28 each. There's 6 different shades. Bouncy jelly-like formula for lip and cheek that feels lightweight and nourishing. And I was watching some videos online. This looks like it's good for no makeup like on bare skin because it gives a really wet look. I fear it might ruin my makeup as I'm going to attempt to put this on the cheeks, but you can also put it on the lips. So we'll go from lightest to darkest. I think I'm going to try the darkest shade on my cheeks. Well, okay, let's see. Here's what the packaging looks like. All right, we're going to touch these together. It does have a protective cover. Maybe I'll try Pink Chai first, but I wanted to do this live on camera with you guys. Ew, it's like, okay, you see the texture of that? Here's Pink Chai. Okay, it had a little bit more color than I thought, but it's thick. It's a little sticky. Okay. It did give a little color to the lips. It is slightly hydrating, and it might mess up my face makeup, but I'm going to try it. All of the tutorials, they use the finger. Honestly, it's applying easier than I thought. I feel like my hair is going to stick to this, though. Oh, yeah, for sure. If you have a lot of flyaways, this is sitting a lot prettier on the skin, though, than I thought. I did use minimal powder on my under eyes, but I don't think it's acting funky with that. It doesn't look great with this foundation because the glow is just a lot more intense and wet with this jelly product. But with no makeup, with just a skin tint, that really wet, dewy look, this will fit right in on the skin. Applied a lot better than I thought and gave me more color than I thought. Okay, and it's pretty hydrating on the lips. Let's Rose Crush. This does have more pigment. Put some on my lips, but I'm not putting everyone on my cheek today. This adds a little bit more color. I will say, probably not a product you need every single color of because they are sheer. That's Rose Crush. Mauve Latte. Oh wow, you might be able to build this one up. Okay, this one has more pigment than I anticipated, which is good news. Because on the swatches online, I felt like they all looked sheer. I definitely think finger is best. That looks really nice. You can get a bit of like a thicker, like scoop it up to fill in the lips a little bit, but it's a finger product. Though, Mario was showing with his lip liners, you can use the brush and paint it on. Maybe I'll do that for the next one. But I think Mauve Latte is my favorite so far. And it's actually showing up on the lips as well. Pink Sugar. This is bright. Can build it up. And then this is a fun summer shade. If I hated this product, I would stop the swatching now. But I'm definitely liking this better than I thought I would. So that's Pink Sugar. More fun for the summer. Cherry Pie. Okay. I feel like this could potentially be a product that goes bad pretty quickly, so we won't know yet if it dries out or if it needs to be sealed airtight. That adds a nice little stained look to the lips. These are interesting. Okay, I'm gonna put on Travis lip liner from Makeup by Mario. I'm curious about Berry Toasty. I'm gonna put this on my cheeks too. Just a little bit more towards the back. I mean, these are more pigmented than I thought, but I'm not too sure, you know, if you are melanated, have, you know, a lot of melanin. It looks more brown in the pot, but it definitely bleeds more plum and berry, I guess, when spread out. They don't dry down. My cheeks are sticky, and I don't like that. But that's just personal preference. And then I'm going to try it with the brush application so you can see how that acts. You are able to like scrape up some of the product with the brush. So it is a nice method of application if you don't want to use your fingers. And it's lightly hydrating. It doesn't feel thick or sticky on the lips. And it looks pretty natural. Okay, pause. I got a closer look in the mirror. From afar, the cheeks look good. From up close, it did move my foundation a little bit, and it is just looking ill-fitting versus, you know, the under eye powder. So this is a product for the cheeks. I would really only recommend if you're just throwing on like a tinted moisturizer, no powder. Definitely not for something full coverage. So if you're a no makeup wearer, you like minimal base makeup, these actually, I think, work nicely on the cheek if you don't mind that stickier feeling. It will keep your cheek more hydrated, but if you're wearing a true foundation like me, I don't recommend them for the cheeks. They have more pigment than I thought. They look prettier than I thought. They wear better than I thought, but not for foundation. They're nice on the lips. I actually really like that brush application as well. They're nice and natural. I am wearing the darkest shade. But overall, let's back up because it did low-key mess up my base makeup. So definitely going to have to do that Armani test on another day. I'll still test them today, but not with this blush. I wouldn't really recommend these. They're better than I thought they would be, and they're most certainly for a certain type of person, a certain type of makeup wearer, and that person is not me. This is more trendy and for the young girls, like teenagers. This is giving like makeup I'd allow my teenager to wear to school, you know? Not for me. And kind of a weird launch from Makeup by Mario. But he has other products I like a lot more than this. And to finish us off, we're circling back to the new Patrick Ta Major Moisture Smoothing and Hydrating Tinted Lip Balm. Was not excited about these at all. Sick of every brand launching this product, but I guess at this point it is a rite of passage to have one of this style of product. But I'm gonna review them. I've been wearing them, and they're really, really nice. So starting off, you saw me in the beginning with cocoa butter. It really did prep my lips nicely for today. It soothed them, it hydrated them, it really helped with the rash that I was getting on the outside edge. Is that windburn? Anyways, it does the job of hydration, very similar to that of Summer Fridays, which works really well for my winter lips. So it's up there for hydration. These are $25 each. There are 6 different shades, one of which is exclusive to the Patrick Ta website. And these are supposed to be high shine but sheer with a rich, cushiony texture, moisturizing ingredients for softer, smoother pout. Let's swatch them, shall we? The range is really, really nice. I mean, I think the colors are pretty. I'm hoping they all have good pigment. So, we've seen the clear. We know what the clear is going to look like. Let's do milk tea. These are made in Korea. So it might be a little sheer on the lips. It does smell like a milk tea. Oh my gosh, that just made my mouth water. Smells like a milk tea that I get at Kung Fu Tea. Which cries of gestational diabetes. Haven't had one in months. But it is pretty much sheer. So you definitely don't need cocoa butter and milk tea. But if you are a bubble milk tea fan, this one smells really nice. But it is pretty much clear. This is cookie butter, which definitely looks like it has a lot more pigment. I love the thinner packaging of this though. It just feels like it fits my small lips better because the applicator is also smaller. So all my small lipped girls. This gave a little bit of a mauve shadow on the lips. Nothing crazy, but there is a little bit of a tint to it. And these, consistency-wise, by the way, they are not sticky at all, but they do have some tack and some thickness, which I think helps them last longer on the lips. I'm not gonna lie, like these are a very, very good formula. Even though it's like the last to join the party after thousands have already entered, they did it well. It sits and cushions on the lips very nicely. It's not sticky, but it's thick and it's hydrating. So I do recommend them, honestly, if you don't already own a billion of them, which you probably do. That kind of situation. They're up there with Summer Fridays, which is my all-time favorite. I have not decided which one I like better, as I'm still getting to know these, but I think these have a little bit more color. This is Pink Salted Caramel. This one's pretty much sheer too. Okay. Has a caramel scent to it. Little slight pinky tone actually that I can see, but pretty much clear. This is Creme Brulee, which I believe is a Patrick Ta exclusive shade. I like this one. This is the one that I've been wearing out with a subtly brown lip liner. And you can see this one does fill in the lines of the lips, which is very important to tick off my boxes with a good product like this. And the deepest one, Espresso. This one looks pigmented. Definitely sheared out, but still gives enough pigment that there's some impact here. It smells amazing like espresso. The scents are subtle though if you're sensitive to that. I'm personally not, like I want it super duper strong. But you know, for those of you who are sensitive, it's subtle. I mean, these do have a little bit of a tint to them. I wish they had just a hint more. I like it when these actually, what you see is what you get on the lips. These are slightly under that threshold for me, but I'm not gonna lie, I do really like this formula. It's very, very well done. All right, and here is the final look. Now, as always with these videos, you guys, these are just my first impressions, so make sure you're subscribed to my channel because I have a series called Speed Reviews where after I've tested these products multiple times with multiple wear tests, I'll give you my final thoughts because I do want some more time to test these before I give you my final review. But as somebody who does test new makeup every day, I I can pick up on a product pretty quickly. So going over everything. So far, the Luminous Silk from Armani, this is the one thing that I do want to test more before I can give you honest thoughts, especially with the Makeup by Mario blush kind of messing the base up. But so far, they're looking pretty similar on the face. I can tell little to no difference, just maybe a subtle more creaminess and wetness in application with the new one, but it looks very, very similar once applied on the skin, but we will see. I will make a note if I have a note by the time this video is up, but for the next week, we're going to be doing side by side every day. The new Natasha Denona Eye Sculpt Cool is exactly what you thought it would be. It's pretty much the exact same as this, but more cool tone, more grayscale. If you don't like grays, you won't like this. If you've been needing more true gray colored palettes, you will enjoy this. This is grayer than I thought. That said though, great formula, very easy to use. The Makeup by Mario Jelly Jar, personally not a fan. It was a little better than I thought, and I think I will like these more for the lips or on no makeup days. Well, I'm actually talking literal no makeup days because I don't want anything with too much coverage on the skin before I apply this, but on bare skin, this could give you a little something while hydrating the cheeks, which actually is really nice in the winter if you're not really wearing much makeup that day. This is like a concealer and then cheek product, but I like it better for lips. Anyways, I don't really recommend it. And then I do actually really like the new Patrick Ta lip balms. Like, they're really good. Very hydrating. Wish they had a hint more color, but they're kind of on par and remind me a lot of the Summer Fridays. Maybe even a little richer and like smoother than the Summer Fridays, but I'll get back to you on that. I do have some more new makeup on the way. I have some new drugstore stuff coming from Maybelline. I have the new CoverGirl Hourglass dupes. I'm going to order some new Dior products. So I do have some new products that I'm going to continue to test. So make sure you stay subscribed, especially for those speed reviews. But so far, so good. I hope you enjoyed this play session with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.